Hello my peaches, what's up? I am Pratha and welcome to today's video. As I promised and have been repeating myself that I will talk about all the coconut fragrances in my collection. It has taken me time to build even this amount of coconut fragrances, and I have to say that maybe I have, but maybe I have not found that absolute creamy coconut. But still, whatever coconut fragrances, be it perfumes or body mists that I have in my collection, I'm going to talk about them. So let's dig in and roll the intro. I would like to start off with the perfumes that I have that have coconut in them. And the first one that I would like to talk about and just quickly get through because I have mentioned it so many times, and that is Hawaiian Rumba from Plum Body Loving Perfumes. This is a beautiful combination of coconut and pineapple, which is not like prominently noticeable, but it's like a sweet tropical kind of a fragrance, which is really nice and which is like super tropical and beautiful and feminine, like a fun day on a beach kind of a fragrance. And it's a beautiful summer fragrance on a budget, and I just feel that it's so much worth looking into because it might not come off as a creamy coconutty fragrance, but more like this fresh coconutty pineapple, tropical kind of like super fresh and juicy kind of a fragrance. That's what I get in here. So it's your fresh musky mixed with florals kind of a tropical fragrance for sure, and definitely worth looking into. A coconut, which I personally do not smell a kind of a prominent coconut in it, but has coconut listed when I was checking for the coconut fragrances that I have. That is Pure Excess from Paco Rabanne. Now this has a coconut note to it, but I don't know, for some reason I just feel that it has a popcorniness to it. Maybe that coconut mixing in with popcorn is kind of making me feel like it has a buttery popcorn to it. So it does have the popcorn note and the coconut note as well. So for me, this is a warm, buttery, coconutty fragrance with a very slight sweetness in the background. It's not like a gourmand at all, in my personal opinion, because I just feel that the amber in it shines quite a lot, and amber is more prominent, which kind of takes over everything that is there in it. So it's majorly a sexy amber but smooth, kind of a sweet and salty vanillic fragrance, which is very different, which is very unique, is kind of super sexy and smooth as well in the background. Does not really come off as a super sharp fragrance, but more like a nice balance of amber and smoothness and vanilla, which has a lot of things going on in it. And I have talked about this fragrance so much on the channel, but I'm so happy to be bringing this one back after so long. So yes, that's just another coconut fragrance that I have in my collection, which prominently does not have coconut, but yes, it's definitely somewhere there in the background. Now let's mention something which actually has a prominent coconut note to it, and that is Tobacco Collection from Zara. That is Rich, Warm and Addictive. It has a dark coconuttiness to it, which has a lot of like, it is like tobacco, dark coconut, a lot of honey, and that whole thing kind of smelling sweet and dark at the same time. This is so calming, this is so beautiful, this is stunning. This is a man's fragrance, but I think women all over the world has been enjoying it so much more than men, because I don't know, why do they even have this fragrance in the men's collection or in the men's section? It should have been there in the women's section. I just feel that way. It's like a beautiful winter coconutty, like dark coconutty, super sweet fragrance. Just another fragrance which is known to be a coconut fragrance, but I personally do not smell that much of a prominent coconut in it. Maybe initially, but not later on. And that is Dolce & Gabbana, The Only One. I don't know what happened when I tried this in the stores. I just felt that it's like a sweet, creamy, coconutty kind of fragrance. But now that I have it, I smell more of the kind of a musky, white floraliness in it. It's like the coconut is very much in the background, and it is genuinely telling you it is a non-sweet and very unisex kind of classy, white floral, warm, ambery, and musky kind of fragrance, in my opinion. I don't know whether this has amber in it, but it's just kind of feeling a little warm and then at the same time florally, but not sweet, not leaning super feminine. Though this is a fragrance for women, but I just feel it's a very unisex kind of fragrance, and it's a fragrance that you both can share for sure. And it just comes off as a very rich and classy kind of an evening time fragrance to me. Super beautiful, but coconut is very much in the background. I do smell the coconut initially in it, but that coconut kind of takes a back foot when it reaches the base and when it dries down. So I just feel that this is more of your classy, florally, musky kind of fragrance, which is a little dark and which is like nighttime appropriate. And I do not smell that coconut that much in it. A very beautiful launch of the last year is Love Child by Miss Haba, which is Antigon Decaf. God, this fragrance is so beautiful. It has so many things going on. It's a balance of sweet, coconutty milkiness with green notes like the palm tree air and a sweet fragrance mixing in with the coffee and coconut milk. Oh god, this is so unique. This is so complex. You can definitely quite prominently smell that coconut milk note in it. It's kind of close to the creamy coconut dream of mine, but I'm looking for that simple, creamy, sweet vanillic coconut for some reason. But this has a lot of, what I was looking for, but still has a lot of other things going on as well. Like it has sage, it has vetiver, if I'm not wrong, it has the greenness to it, and it has so many things going on that this is a super complex fragrance. I just smell it and I smell 1,000 things, but still this is like super beautiful, super kind of a sexy. You were on a vacation, but then suddenly some work came in and you have to deal with it right now, but you're on the beach but still kind of enjoying your coconut milk coffee for some reason, and then working as well, like a classy and working boss babe on a vacation or something. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe it gives me, and it definitely makes me think of Masaba every time I sniff on this. This is something Masaba would wear on a vacation. That's how I feel about it. The next perfume that we're talking about is Versace Crystal Noir. Now, this is a true coconut fragrance. I smell the coconut in it quite prominently, but it's a beautiful mix of orange blossom, coconut, and ginger. It very much has the ginger in the top and also has the sandalwood in the base. This is just another super sexy and out there kind of coconut fragrance, which has a lot of complexity to it. It is not smooth or soft. It is sharp and it's dominant. It's out there. Do not forget the sharpness that I'm mentioning. So it's a sharp fragrance. A strong and sharp fragrance is something that you cannot handle. Don't look into this direction. But this is a fragrance which has a beautiful gingery spiciness mixing in with coconut and orange blossom, which is kind of adding a fresh sharp note to it, and then sandalwood, which is kind of making it a little powdery in the base, and then amber also mixing in with vanilla, if I'm not wrong, which is kind of making it warm at the same time. So it's a super complex fragrance, which is something which is hard to explain, and you'll have to sniff on it to understand it. Warm spicy coconut with a powdery sweetness in the base, but with a sharpness from the orange blossom. That's the best that I can do for the breakdown of this fragrance. But this is a true coconut fragrance. If a coconutty, spicy, sharp fragrance is something you would like to own, then Versace Crystal Noir is like a super sexy fragrance to own for sure. A fragrance which is not available right now but still is quite special to me. I'm not saying that it's super close to my heart, but is quite special, and that is Glittering Iris from Victoria's Secret. It has the notes of sugared iris and iced coconut. The coconut in it is kind of cold but still kind of really nice, sugary, and The iris is kind of adding cosmetic like plastickiness to the whole thing, which is like it has a bit of a purple floraliness, but then it also has the cosmetic like feel to it, which is mixing in with the cold coconut note in it. It's really interesting, it's really nice, and I think it's a very beautiful girly fragrance, and it's just kind of a different take on a girly or college going, like different from the regular fruity sweet fragrances. It's definitely something different, but sadly it's no more available, and I've never seen this coming back on the website ever. A fragrance which literally has coconut mentioned on it in the name is Coco Vanilla from Bisac. Now, this do have the note of coconut, but I just feel that this is very much a dupe of LA Sab's Girl of Now. And more than the coconut, I kind of smell the all over nuttiness in it. So that coconut is not prominently coconut, but this is more like a nutty, sweet, chuli, and amber fragrance for me. It's warm, it's green, and it's kind of this spicy green patchouli that is there in LA Sab, and very similar kind of fragrance to the LA Sab Girl of Now. The coconut is more or less kind of adding the nuttiness to it, which is kind of matching with that of Elisab Girl of Now's pistachio and almond nuttiness. So I do not particularly smell the pistachio in this. I would like to say that it's overall a kind of a nuttiness which is kind of similar to that, but it's not the pistachio nuttiness that we're talking about in here. We are talking about the nuttiness and the sweet, nutty, sexy, warm kind of fragrance which is there in here, and this is very much a winter appropriate nutty fragrance. A fragrance that initiated the idea of this video is Shirosa 39 from Sol de Janeiro. I bought it with a thought of getting the most beautiful coconutty fragrance out there, since it has the notes of coconut cream and toasted praline. Okay, I won't lie, out of all the coconut fragrances that I have for now, this has the most creaminess to it. Cannot take that away from this fragrance. And I also would like to mention that when I bought this 3 months ago, I think it has been around 3 or 4 months when I bought this was a very sharp kind of fragrance initially, and then I told you guys that I'm gonna travel and I'm not going to be home for 2 months, and since I was not really impressed with this fragrance, I just left it behind, never carried it with me, and it was just sitting in my shelves. Now when I open it and now when I sniff on it, it's kind of, the sharpness in it is kind of toned down, but has not gone completely. I would still like to say this. The coconut cream is kind of a beautiful vanilla and coconut mix, but the sharpness, that fresh coconut note that they have tried creating with tropical orchid, is definitely something which is ruining this fragrance for me. I do smell the praline, the warm vanilla, the coconut cream in it. I so wish that they never had added that tropical orchid to it to make it smell like a creamy and warm yet fresh kind of coconut. But afterwards, when that tropical orchid note kind of completely settles down, it does come off as this warm vanillic coconut fragrance. But who has the patience of 30 or 45 minutes to get that beautiful coconutty fragrance? We want a fragrance, especially when we are spending around 3,000 rupees on a fragrance. We do not want it to smell cheap or synthetic or sharp or anything such. We want instant results. We want it to be beautiful and creamy in the very first spray. So I think the ad of tropical coconut has gone completely wrong. Like with this, my dream of getting a sweet and creamy coconut with warm vanilla almost kind of came true, but then the tropical orchid note kind of ruined it for me, so it still hasn't come true. A fresh coconut that I would like to talk about is At the Beach from Bath & Body Works. It has the notes of white frangipani blossoms, toasted coconut, bergamot waters, sea salt breeze, and sun-kissed musk. It's a super bright and fresh kind of coconut, prominently dominated by the sea and the sky notes. That's what I feel. The breeze and the sea notes, they create this lake or water note with kind of a sharp shampooiness in their fragrances, which is, the shampooiness is kind of toned down, but the sharpness is definitely there. I love it in the bottle, I love it in the cap, I love it on the paper strip. I might like it on somebody else as well, but this coconut kind of turns synthetic on my skin, and that's the reason that I have been unable to use this fragrance at all. I do like this fresh take on a coconut fragrance, which is very much like being on the beach and enjoying a beautiful, breezy, kind of a calm, breezy, but kind of a fresh day on the beach, which is not hot at all. Has this super tropical feel to it. Because of that, toasted coconut added to it. A coconut which has to top my list from Bath and Body Works. If I talk about the coconuts from Bath and Body Works, this coconut is definitely going to be among the top picks, and that is Copper Coconut Sands. I had a travel size in this, but then I sold it off because that whole mindset of mine that coconuts from Bath and Body Works does not turn that well on me. So Copper Coconut Sands, I have to say, is a very, very different take on a coconut fragrance. It has the slight metallicness, since the name suggests, and has a kind of a dryness to it, but has a combination of a creamy coconut and a dry note to it. Like, I just feel that it's a mix of a creamy coconut and sandalwood. It is something which is so different. It is like a warm coconut fragrance which has a sandalwoodiness in the base. So this is definitely something worth looking into if at all it comes back, because this is not your regular coconut. This is a very different take on a coconut fragrance. I have to repeat that again and again. And also, this coconut fragrance does not turn synthetic on me. There are certain fragrances from Bath and Body Works that have coconut and do not turn synthetic on me. So Copper Coconut Sands is definitely one of those, and that is why I wanted to mention it. As I always say, one beautiful coconut fragrance which actually does not have coconut mentioned in the notes at the back is Velvet Petals Decadent from Victoria's Secret. It has the notes of rich pomegranate, arctic berries, a deep rich take on velvet petals, but I have to say that it has a strong note of that toasted coconut grated and then toasted, and that slight toasting is giving off this warm coconutty fragrance while it's been toasted. That's the kind of coconut it has. I just love the mix of this velvety floraliness, that fleshy floraliness which is quite velvety and fuzzy, and the coconut and that slight sweetness from berries. I love that combination. It's not overly sweet, it's not your super sweet kind of fragrance, just the kind of sweetness which is kind of making it feminine, and the coconut in the base is making it just beautiful. And this is not a fragrance worth ignoring at all. Another Bath and Body Works fragrance which is a coconut fragrance, but again a different take on a coconut fragrance, and that is Sunset Glow. It has the notes of fresh coconut, sparkling cherry, Saltazar, dreamy moonflower, and caramelized vanilla. Now this is said to be a dupe for Boom Boom Cream, and it's a kind of a juicy fresh kind of a fragrance. It has a suntan lotion kind of a vibe to it. Coconut is kind of adding a tropical feel to it, but still it is creamy kind of warm kind of fragrance, along with the juicy freshness and the fresh coconut that it has in it. Beautiful blend of fresh and warm notes at the same time, and it very much smells like the Boom Boom Cream. It's like a beautiful day, like a warm day on a beach, and especially I imagine the golden hour, which is between 4:30 to 5:30 in the evening, when the sun is shining bright and the most right before setting. So that's the kind of whole vibe that this has. It has a very beautiful tropical feel to it, along with the fresh and warm notes at the same time. A fragrance which is like becoming more and more my favorite each passing day is Warm and Cozy from Victoria's Secret. I have to say that I was not really amazed by this initially, and it has the notes of soft vanilla, toasted coconut, and passion fruit. But when I smell this fragrance, you guys I think will agree with me, along with the toasted coconut note to it and the vanilla notes to it. Instead of the passion fruit, I kind of smell the clementines in it. So those sweet, super orangey kind of clementines, juicy citrusiness in the opening, which is like sweet, mixing in with the warm coconut and the warm vanilla. And it's not exactly your warm kind of fragrance. I would like to mention that it's more like this beautiful balance of juicy fresh and warm at the same time, and it's more like a cozy fragrance for the summer times. That's what I feel about it. It's more appropriate for that or for slipping into the bed. And yeah, that's warm and cozy from Victoria's Secret. And the last fragrance that I would like to mention, and is my highest recommendation for the recent purchases that I have done, is Pastel Skies from Bath and Body Works. Now, I really don't have the notes for it. Let me just take out the notes. Soft cloudberries, pink spun sugar, and coconut musk. Now, I always say that without even looking at the notes, because the notes are not mentioned at the back of this bottle, it just smells like fresh berries, like juicy berries, and fluffy sweetness to it, along with some toasted coconut. But that toasted coconut is kind of warm but musky at the same time. It has a musky coconutiness to it, and this is a very, very beautiful sweet coconutty fragrance, and is more like this pleasant weather kind of a fragrance. It's not like your summer fragrance for sure, but nowadays that the weather is quite nice in Hyderabad and it's raining every now and then and the days are kind of cold, I'm really, really enjoying and gravitating towards this fragrance. And even in the review video of Shirosa 39, I said that instead of buying this, you buy this. You will not get the creaminess that this has, but then you will get a nice kind of warm, musky coconut in here, which is sweet and fluffy. These two are very different from each other, but if a better coconut fragrance is what you're looking for, which is very much available right now and that too easily available, then that has to be Pastel Skies from Bath and Body Works. If I have to pick one body mist out of all these fragrances, then I would any day go for Pastel Skies, because I love the coconut note in it, which does not turn synthetic on me, and I just absolutely love it. And among the perfumes, I have to say Rich Warm Addictive is my most loved, but I also quite enjoy and highly recommend Antigone Decaf from Masaba, Love Child, because it is such a different take on a fragrance, but it is strong, it is out there, it's long lasting, it's potent. If a potent fragrance is something that you cannot handle, then this is not something for you. It is only for those who love strong and out there kind of fragrances. And that is my collection for coconut fragrances. Don't forget to leave some coconuts in the comments section. I just enjoy this kind of interaction with you guys. Share with me the other coconut fragrances that you have and that you love, and any creamy coconut, the pure vanillic coconutty kind of fragrance that you might have come across, which is not there in my knowledge. So please do let me know about it, because I would love to hear your suggestions. And if you're still here watching me and liking me, don't forget to give this video a big fat thumbs up down below. Keep looking beautiful, keep smelling good. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Mwah.